Hello and welcome to another session of Free from the Shadow Samurai Fantasy, which is a drift slash hack of Free from the Yoke to do a more fantastical samurai setting. There's significant changes to the playbooks and to some of the base moves and such. I will have a link in the show notes if you want to check out like a version of it so you can see what we're doing here. This session is part of Open Hearth Gaming Community, which is an online gaming club slash community, which you can find out about at another link that's in the show notes. But more importantly, today is the first day of signups that have opened for our Shared Hearth, which is a free gaming weekend that we're doing November 10th through 12th. There are, I think, 30 different games on the calendar, plus a couple of seminars. It's all free. You're welcome to come and sign up for that. The signups are all open. There's a large variety of games, a large number of different things going on. And if you're curious about the community, if you're curious about online play or different kinds of indie games, it's a great chance to check those out in a way that is low commitment. One session to see what things are like, so you don't get trapped in something that you don't want to be part of long term. So very easy to do. Our last session, we had the encounter with the Jiragumo that kind of dealt with the threat that was hanging out to the Brass Wisteria clan. And some things were found there, some information pointing to certain things. I did put in a couple of NPC pictures. There were a couple of wishes from last time that I'll mention. One of them is potentially to have that spooky child return, and I put a picture of the spooky child in the NPCs tab. Also, so, more personal scenes as well was appreciated. Another note I see in at least two places, roll better seems to be the wishes for a couple of people there, I will note. But we have on kind of on the table right now a couple of possible zoom ins for this year before we go and do the winter court. We had talked about doing Asuka's zoom in handled that way. We also talked about doing a zoom in for Issei for the investigation of that island. So those are a couple of things that are out there. I do want to start with letting everybody do a clan move, maybe to kind of frame some things up or follow up on things that were set from last time, or even do preparations. Read the Wind is a good one for that to help set yourself up. So I think we're on Kale. I think you're starting. You're in the first chair this time. So starting with you, what do you think your clan needs to be doing? You're in pretty good shape mood-wise. You've got surpluses, certainly significant ones. What do you think? You are muted.
Yes. So, right, I think we're pretty good shape on surplus. I think, and we've satisfied the Emperor's request that we figure out the vanishings. I think the one thing we haven't been able to do is actually contribute to the roads at all.
Right.
So I think I don't know if we're gonna have time to do it, but I think we might be reading the winds to try and figure out. Well, I don't have any surpluses, I think, that will help currently. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna have time to figure it out and then also
Oh, you
collect it
might.
and then also deliver it, but before the winter court. But I think that's what they're going to be looking for. So let me take a look at the clan moves again. Yeah, I think we are going to I think we're going to read the wind.
Okay.
So I think in particular, um, having heard the sort of the news about the Juragumo, the Arkai is really now looking, has sent out riders essentially looking to try and I actually I so I think hmm, I'm seeing lumber as the sort of one of the surpluses, and I know that one of the um one of the families that lives in the one of the families in Brass Wisteria is sort of lives in that kind of jungle space.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I think Archives has sent some messengers to try and or sent a sent some messengers to try and sort of rally the clan to kind of help the uh what family was that? Um to help the Batar family try and kind of collect wood to collect lumber to deliver to the roads.
Okay.
Now I suspect that is probably still read the wind unless there's something else.
Well, I'll make another suggestion to you.
Sure.
One of the things that you can do in this game is if you have a surplus,
Mm-hmm.
you can spend that surplus to solve a problem, to
Okay.
have a thing happen. So that one of the things that means is if you could justify it, given the fictional positioning and stuff, you could say, I'm going to spend my transport surplus,
Mm-hmm.
distribute that to this family in order for them to, gather the wood there and turn that into lumber. And that is done without a roll.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. If you have a surplus, it is a tool to do a thing. And often, if you can justify it, means you don't have to roll.
Okay. Um, well, in that case, yeah, I think what this looks like then is I think the lumber may be at hand with the
Mm-hmm.
Batar family, but I think the things that the rest of the family is contributing, and the reason that it is transport surplus that we're giving up, is that the rest of the families are sort of contributing riders and horses to help move the lumber and make it sort of mobile rather than once sort of the Batars have collected it.
Is there any unusual beast that you're using to do this? Like, what do we see on screen for this production?
Yeah, I think the unusual thing for the sort of center, especially for the families, in the interior of the empire, are the Dorj sand lizards that are
Mhm.
quite large, and they're sort of the specifically the beasts being used to actually pull the lumber. The And then the Gombat riders are more in moving in sort of support of you know figuring out logistics essentially and helping kind of clear the way. But it's the Dorj sand lizards that are
Yeah.
really
So you can erase the transport surplus and
yep,
write in lumber surplus, and we kind of
perfect.
see that happen, that montage of that on screen. Let's come to Crow Azalea. You are muted.
I'm muted, but I had nothing to say.
I
I've been
I didn't want to jump in too soon.
thinking about this.
You had mentioned wanting to teach rituals to other families before as a means of gaining influence, and
Yes. So many things. Oh. Well, I could make this an offer. Let's see here. So unkind.
Dice haven't even come out. There's no
I
unkindness
know,
yet.
and it's just the thing is it's like it's that sort of thing of we need a surplus or two just to get it out, out from under the water. So it is,
Well, you do have a couple of influence out
yeah.
there already. Also have, of course, Read the Wind.
What does Read the Wind do?
That allows you to figure out where surpluses are that you could get a hold of.
Okay. We need blessings.
Okay.
So I think that is probably actually a fairly alarming thing for us. So why don't we try that?
Okay. So that is Read the Wind is rolled with Reach.
Okay. Reaches 2. All right. Okay. So that's 2d6 plus 2.
Yes.
I'm rolling 2d6 and I'm adding 2. 6. I hate these dice. I hate this roller. All right.
So I think that you will find that in fact there has been a working done that has drained off some of those blessings and the contact with the spirits. And that appears to be, though Crow Azalea has no proof, it does seem to you like the Imperial scholars, those who have kind of taken over your place within the court, have quietly undertaken this ritual. Now, whether it is a deliberate affront to you or just an accidental happenstance of the workings that they've been doing is unclear. But I think you have your suspicions, Asuka.
Well, see what we can do about that.
Okay. Does that seem reasonable answer?
No, it's a terrible answer, and I'm in tears. So there you
All
go.
right. Fair enough.
That's great.
Let's come to Dawn Chrysanthemum, who has a great deal of influence.
Yes. And in fact, I do think I want to use some of it.
Okay.
I would like to use my influence to request that Iron Rose give us their surplus of blessings, which I then plan to deliver to the Emperor's project.
Iron Rose is in a pretty good shape. And you bring that to bear. They attended your festival. So I think it is your representatives attend on them and kind of discuss. Do you think this is done more gently or with more open-handed offers? Like, what is the diplomatic approach of Dawn Chrysanthemum?
I wonder if it's something like, if we know, for example, that Iron Rose has a big, like, kind of ceremony for the nature spirits coming up, we send a representative to visit with them who happens to mention the friendly idea that maybe they might want to move the ceremony closer to where the construction of the road is happening, and perhaps one of our favored poets could participate in the ceremony, write a poem especially for the occasion, and we'll make it into a bit of a show, something that the emperor can't ignore.
I think through that, those kind of talks and things, it ends up that slowly over the bit, kind of those things are put into your control. And Iron Rose will hand those blessings to you. So I will remove that from their surpluses. Now all they have is sake and morale.
Like a good time.
Yeah. Makes up for the lack of blessings. Takashi, we come back to Ghost Iris, who is also doing, I believe, reasonably well, needs versus surpluses there. Though you still have these cultists that are operating in your area. What would you like to do?
So I'd like to do two things if I can, and the first one would be to gift the fortification surpluses to Crow Azalea that they had previously requested. And specifically, I want to send a message that we had witnessed the brave defense of Asuka Kimura's friends in the battle with the Juragoma, and we have come to the realization that Crow Azalea is more than capable of defending the lands, and we would like to share that responsibility with them.
All right. So that feels like a thing that you can do. We can roll logistics for that. And
So,
yeah,
would this be considered a martial surplus? Because I don't have to roll logistics for those.
then yes, yeah, I think that seems reasonable. It is definitely a martial surplus. It does feel like if that seems reasonable to you, Asuka, that they should get influence over you. You're muted.
Certainly, I
Okay.
said.
Then what is it that is being handed over fortification wise? Is it actual forts? Is it materials for making forts? Is it technical know-how? What do you think that is?
I think there is a series of forts probably along the river, on the opposite shore from where our main holdings are, which puts it closer to Azalea lands. Does that seem reasonable to you, Sherry?
Need a map, but I'm sure it will be lovely. But again,
Absolutely.
here we go.
In that case, Crozelia, you may record that you have
Fortifications.
that surplus.
Okay. Ooh.
Let's come back to yes. And the other thing you
Well, I was
want to
going to
do,
say,
yeah, the other thing.
I did want to do another thing, but if we're going to do another
Yeah,
round,
no,
we
I
can
think
do it in the
it's, I
second
think
round.
it's no, but what's your other thing?
So there is a minor clan that is currently handling the construction project, the Onyx Plum, of the roads. I would like to cause a scandal within the Onyx Plum using
Okay.
subterfuge.
All right. So that you roll that with sleight. You don't have influence over them, do you?
I don't have influence over
Okay.
them, but I do have rationing. So whenever I lose a surplus for any reason, I take advantage on the next clan move.
Okay, there you go.
It's
It's a good
very
move.
clever. Yeah.
My sleight is +1, I think. Yep. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's
All right, that would be an 11.
Okay, so 11, you're going to generate 2 hold. So you can cause a scandal within a clan's organization. And what do you want to do with the other hold?
Having a look. Some of these sound negative, but I'm guessing it's framed to be negative from the other end.
Meaning,
So like they gain fleeting control of a place or resource. Is that
yeah, that
something...
there's a mix up. The second sentence ought to say they must use it before the end of the year, or it returns to the owner's hands. So the
Right.
they is the player.
The target?
So no, the player. So you may gain
Okay,
fleeting
so I
control of
would
a
gain
place or
fleeting control.
resource. You have to use it before the end of the year, or returns to its owner's hands. But that costs 2 hold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you like have these switched.
Yeah, I've got to go and fix those. There we go. Play testing.
Yeah. What do they have? I'm gonna see if I can...
They have quite a bit. They livestock, transport, and morale.
I don't need any of those things just yet. I would like to. I don't want to raise turmoil. That's probably a bad idea. I would like to remove any trace of our own involvement in the action.
So what is the nature of the scandal you think you caused there, that you create amongst this minor builder clan?
I think we make it appear as if they are stockpiling resources that are supposed to be flagged for the Empress project. So we kind of our agents redirect some of the materials that are supposed to be going to the project and put them somewhere that the clan can't find them, and then we discover them, and it makes it look like they were skimming from the project for their own benefit.
I think that will get out, and the project hasn't even gotten very far. Nothing has been delivered, so it is much to the chagrin of the emperor that this happens, and we'll see the daimyo, the Onyx Plum, kind of called up to court, and lots of public discussions and apologies, and he knows that someone has done this, has put them in the crosshairs, but he doesn't know who. And in fact, believes that you were merely a tool of whoever was behind these sinister things. Yeah, they are not in good light. Certainly, when the end of the year comes and the cord is rolled, they will not be getting the emperor's favor in place of any one of you. So
one hopes their contract will not be renewed.
yes. You have been made redundant. Kaylin, let us come back to Brass Wisteria.
Yes, well, having now secured their lumber and their passage, they are going to attempt to contribute that to the Emperor, to the road building project.
Okay. That is a logistics roll. It is rolled with your mood, which is 2 okay, right now.
2. And that's a 4.
That is a 4. So you get to choose. The surplus arrives, but we put a tick on the turmoil track, of which there are 10 empty boxes. Or a new threat appears, or an old threat advances.
Yeah, I think the sight of all of these lizards from the desert, like marching through the middle of the, like the farmland, the sort of the fertile valley of the of the empire as they're crossing, all the way from the forests on the west to the, the road building project in the east. I do think that is raising term.
Absolutely. So we're going to put a tick on the turmoil, and we are also going to put a tick on progress. When you deliver a surplus, we increase project's tracker by 1, and you also gain 1 favor.
Okay.
Let us return to Dawn Chrysanthemum. Or sorry, Crow Azalea. I'm sorry, didn't scroll over far enough. Do you have another clan move you not to do, or do you want to frame up an RP scene, or do you want to frame up a zoom in? What do you think? You are. Take a drink. Once again muted.
It's my superpower. Okay, so I think, ooh. I really want to, I want to frame a zoom in. See, I'm so greedy. This is a problem.
We can always do it on the next come around back to you if you want.
Okay, no, or someone else can too, but okay. Let's see here. So if there's one group that has quite a bit of stuff, right? They have livestock and transport and morale. I do not need any of those. That is not what I need. Okay.
There's Onyx Plum. They are currently in kind of a bad shape because they've been shaken up by this recent scandal.
Yes. But certainly we could offer them something that might help them. I would offer, but I don't have influence over them. But perhaps I could take influence over them. If we were to offer them a ritual.
Absolutely. They are right now in desperate need of allies. What ritual would you offer to them? Is there something that could help them with their work, or is there something, a ritual that you have that might help them gain favor, or what do you offer to them?
There's a ritual called Walking the Way. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it allows them to move a day's pace, like a whole big group in a day, within an hour. It's obvious and all of that stuff, but it does allow them to take control when things are having a problem along the building of the thing where they might, at like the more further along the road than they might have been stationed. It gives them the opportunity to react to situations.
Absolutely. They will be very interested in this. Certainly they will be glad to have your reverence there, and for you to present this to them and teach them this ritual that they can use. So you may take influence over them. And do you want to turn around and use that influence?
Yes, perhaps. But of course I have that. Okay, yes. Sorry, just have to get over to the right place to find them. Just a little bit further down. Yes. I guess.
What is it you wish to ask of them?
See here. Perhaps they could help us with some of their livestock.
They
We have had so many refugees to feed, so much. So
no,
it's been difficult.
they understand, and they certainly have still more surpluses than needs, and they also need to make a public show that they are generous with the offering of the surplus. They do not hoard them, as has been suggested. So they would very much like to make a very public demonstration to you and provide the livestock to you. So there will be a transport of those beasts. What do you think their livestock is? Like what is the beasts that they have? Is it cattle? Is it lambs?
I
Is it
think it's
something else?
oxen.
Oxen. Okay.
Yes, I think it is oxen. They are builders, and they have these beautiful broad-shouldered oxen that like are known for their ability to just keep going and going and going, and they have a very gentle nature.
Okay.
So
they will provide you a good portion of their herds to help settle their outstanding debt with you. Let us return then to Dawn Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, I think I'll just deliver my blessings to this project.
Okay. That is a simple logistics roll. You're rolling at +0 because you are at mood 0. My gosh.
Yeah,
Look
was
at
not
that.
expecting that.
So what do you think that looks like? I mean, because you do it with, with that 12 plus, there's no problem with it. How is it that we see you turning that over?
I think we see the emperor present at this grand ceremony. Issei, of course, is also in attendance, but he's not playing a leading role here. And I imagine that like one of the places where the emperor plans for the road to move through was at one time like a bloody battlefield during the war that's since like overgrown with grass, and it's become wild again. And Iron Rose, with their kind of ceremonial ties to the nature spirits, they give a blessing to this place, like almost apologizing to the spirits, telling them that we understand the ways that our very human greed and rage and ambition have defiled this place, and that we want to give it back to the spirits and to those who will travel this road in peace moving forward.
Perfect. So you will put another tick of progress on the project, and you will add 1 to Dawn Chrysanthemum's favor. I already put the tick of the progress on, so you're at 2 ticks, but the third one will be coming at the end of the year. So technically you're halfway along on this project. There's almost no chance that everything could go terribly wrong now. Anything else you wish to do, Dawn Chrysanthemum?
I need a moment to think of something
Sure,
else.
absolutely. I will move back to Ghost Iris.
Yeah, so the only other thing that I can think of doing in this moment is that Issei gave Takashi a sword that was picked up in our zoom in the last session, and suggested that we could potentially use it to carry favor in the Imperial Court. I would like to try that. I would like to send Takashi to where the Emperor is to present this sword to the Emperor.
Okay.
As something that we have found, and clearly it belongs with the Imperial line, and so we want to offer it up.
So Takashi, you are sent to do this as a merchant. As we know, you are generally welcomed. People know of your gift giving prowess, and so on. What is it that let's see how I want to do this.
I do have a character move which might be relevant here, which is the perfect gift. When I bring something or someone precious to a clan to substitute for a surplus or a need, roll cunning.
Absolutely. I
And then
think that's
potentially, if it doesn't hit, there's a bunch of nasty side effects which could be.
But on the other hand, this also is a chance, if you roll well, to actually increase the project, because the Emperor's needs are those project's needs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try that?
I will try that.
Okay. So Takashi, you are brought into the court. Again, not quite the glory, because the imperial capital has been burned down, destroyed, but they are in a smaller set of fortresses. The emperor is there, the imperial herald, Daigo Kadoka is there. And again, the atmosphere here is a little bit rougher than it is at any of the courts that you've been to. Is again a chaotic jumble of things here, an attempt to kind of create a sense of what this new imperial line is, but this is clearly not the emperor's thing. But he will greet you, and he will say, how do things fare with the Ghost Iris clan, Master Takashi?
They fare as well as the needs of the Empire demands.
You had indicated to heralds that you had something to bring to me that you thought would be of importance to the Imperial House.
Yes. On my travels, I have come across a particular sword that bears the markings of the Imperial line. It is my family's belief and my belief that this sword belongs with the Empire, with the Emperor.
Much of the Imperial regalia was lost during the war. We are intrigued. Have you brought this item?
I have. Do I have permission to hold a sword in your presence?
You have my leave. And the Imperial Herald kind of, definitely steps and stands a little bit away.
And Takeshi will pull it out. It's probably wrapped in a blanket of some description, or a silk cloth, and unfold the cloth with some amount of ceremony and hold it out. Perhaps hold the hilt so that the handle is the pommel is towards the herald.
And the herald will come forward and will carefully take the blade from you, and we'll walk it over to the emperor, and we'll hand it to him very carefully, and he will begin to look at it. Let's have you roll cunning.
Okay. That's a 7.
That is a 7. So pick one.
Mm-hmm. They're all delicious. I think I want to alienate someone from the clan that was already working on a solution. Somebody in the Imperial Court was looking for these items and had promised to find them.
I think, in fact, that visiting on this day is someone who you've met before, Master Gunpei. and you see him off to the side, and I think we see a dark cloud cross his brow. He looks very, very irritated. You see him look. He clearly looks both with his eyes and his spiritual sense, and he can tell that this is the real deal. And I think that you have definitely ingratiated yourselves with the Emperor, and we may put a tick of progress or control for the Emperor. Which would you like? Progress for the project or control for the Emperor?
I would like progress, please.
Okay. Then you may give your clan another favor. This is a magnificent gift. Not the katana, but the wakizashi, part of the pair of the souls of the Emperor, untainted by the corruption of the foe. This is a marvelous gift, and its appearance and your discovery of it speaks to the destiny that the Empire has. It is a sign of things to come.
We are, as always, committed to the future of the Empire.
Takashi, I will thank your clan for this, but you have my personal favor. What is it that you wish? What is it that Takashi wishes?
Ooh. My people, my clan, have consumed our surplus of obsidian during the time of trouble, and it is used in many of our artworks. It is something that we don't have a good source for, and we have attempted to trade for it, but have been unable to thus far.
What is your current imperial favor for your family?
0.
Is 0.
Now, it was -1 before this. So.
Let's have you roll favor with advantage.
That would be an 8.
That's an 8. The person says, this is a, I have made my offer to you, and so I will be true to it, with the understanding that you and your family will continue to look for other of these relics for me.
Of course.
Then I will provide you a measure of the surplus that we have of obsidian, that you might bring it to defend the interests of the Empire as a whole. And yes, you may take that surplus to erase a need if you wish. Let's come back to then Brass Wisteria.
So I think I think Brass Viseria is again going to attempt to get some last bit of something to aid the Empire and Emperor in, well, actually favor is already at +2.
Yeah.
So perhaps we're going to the ways to gain influence on other clans, is that typically through something like lend aid or
So lend aid is one way. The particular alliance
The
move
alliance, right? Okay.
that you have is another way. And let me see, I can't remember if we have one. Those are the two big ones right
Yep.
now.
Okay. Well, okay. So I don't think I think we're going to I think we're going to read the wind here.
Okay.
I think the clan does not need anything strongly immediately, and
Right.
so it's going to be more of an exploratory turn.
Yeah. So let's have you roll with reach.
So that is reach, which is +0.
Okay.
That's a 6.
Okay. I should have paused to see if you wanted someone to lend aid on that, but I assume not. As I always have to remind on this. So if you wanted to roll back
right.
and ask someone for aid, I would be willing to do that.
Right. I think we'll I think I'm okay with we'll let it ride. We'll take the 6.
Let me look at you. So you managed to deal with the question of the vanishings. That was a significant thing. But I think that you will find that there is some increasing set of rumors that are starting to go around. The sense you have is that there's a whispering campaign starting, kind of bubbling below the surface, and you're not sure exactly where it's coming from. But it's certainly speaking about that there's some supernatural attack on the Borderlanders because they had been practicing foul foreign magics, and they were there's a general feeling that you get a real nervousness that is going on, and in fact, people saying that part of the problem is that I mean, the kami are really important, and people focus in on their foreign on their own kami, kind of worry about others. And there's just sort of this general thread that the Borderlanders have brought in kami from outside the empire, and they are tainted as a result. Now, I'm still going to give you one hold on the read the wind, but you definitely can sense that there's a real move that is beginning to scapegoat your clan.
Okay. So I think the thing that I think the question that they were looking for an answer to is let's see. I'm just scanning the surpluses to see what they would be looking for. I think that they are again, this is sort of part of Arkai's attempt to get sort of more connections to the other clans, and they were looking. So the form of that is, I guess, looking for trading partners. They're trying to figure out who they can establish more trading with, to get that trade surplus.
So I think you will know that right now, Onyx Plum, the builders are desperate to like build up contacts to try and restore their reputation by building up contacts. And in that case, they might overlook this current whispering campaign. As well, you know that Eternal Sakura, the Sanakata family, they are always willing to bargain and deal. And they have a kind of a reputation as crafters and as being magically gifted. And you might be able to work out something there. Some kind of deal on those ends. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. That there are two likely targets. Let's take our first break. We'll take 10. We'll come back, and I want to come back to Crow Azalea. We'll see if we want to frame up a zoom in on that and what we want to do. So, Asuka.
Yes.
We talked about you wanting to do a zoom in. Is that still something you want to do, or do you want to resolve it with a roll, or what would you like?
Well, one of the things is during the break, I realized that I had gotten a fairly significant wound, and you had said, "Oh, we'll do something when the thing comes around." So I suppose that I have to pay the piper for that, don't I?
You have
A heavy wound.
heavy wound. So let us look and see what
I'm pretty sure it probably costs a surplus.
No, it doesn't cost a surplus.
What?
But it does require you to rest in some place that has surpluses that are like blessings or things that can be considered about that. There's medicine is one of the things. If you do that, then that wound will heal, in a week. If not, if you go home, there is a montage of you spending a month recovering.
Okay. I mean, that's what I would do, but I have to find some place that has.
So if you go home,
Yes.
it just takes longer to heal. So
okay.
What does that look like? Like, what do we see?
May I ask a question? At
Yes.
the end of the session, we said that we were going to take Kenta with us because things had been pretty bad. Could I have convinced him to come back to Crow Azalea Lands to rest up, but also to tell the story of what happened, so that because we still don't understand those things. And I would invite him. I know he's a little bonkers, but anyone would be if they were staying there and try to keep something like that corked up. So
that seems more than reasonable to me, that they would travel. They would be, I mean, all four of you undertook this, so I think that Kenta would be generally positive to all of you, and if you made the push, would come with you.
all right. So I kind of like the idea that it is pretty much a sort of, how do you say, like both of them are recuperating, and it's a sort of thing of this is the thing, is that I assume that if you're a mage that deals with the kami, there are times that you come back and you are exhausted and maybe things have gone terribly wrong. It's fairly standard for them to have people who are recuperating like this. So there are probably guardians and things like that that are devoted to it, and staff and that sort of thing. And she sort of extended that to Kenta, but also they consult with people during the time, like people come to talk to him and those sorts of things, so that maybe I get to learn a little bit more about how the Imperial Scholars work.
So that feels like either unearth forgotten lore or a study roll done at the character level.
I can unearth forgotten lore
Okay.
that after they've been around each other for a while, they start to put some pieces together or something like that, perhaps.
Sure. So roll plus lore.
All right, and I roll with advantage when I do that.
Yep.
That's 3d6. So that's an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
The 10. So you have 3 hold under unearth forgotten lore. There are some questions there. There's also the ability to declare a detail.
So these questions are always a little bit weird. So would investigate a landmark or a ritual. So
we're kind of modifying this. So if you want to modify the questions a little.
Yeah. So So the thing is what I do learn is like ask how the ancestors were caught up in this. Understand that it was the one who dueled, his anger was part of it, but were there others that were drawn into this? Like what happened there?
It says when the kami came down into the soul of that lord, it was not just that had happened, it was that there had been a working by others to loosen the bonds and the boundaries of things. Those workings are still in the world. And now more than ever, where there are strong feelings, strong passions that are left unfinished, those are the places where the leftovers from the foe can creep in. It is part of the reason why one of the signs of the foe is those strong emotions, because that's an energy that they take up. That duel was a time of betrayal and anger, and that anger lingered on, and it became a festering point that these things could enter into.
How was the Giordano drawn into it?
Shiragomo is an older yokai, an older monster. And these things are not immune to the effects of the foe. They go and to feed on it, and they were twisted by it. And I suspect that there are people out there who are still manipulating that energy. One more hold.
I think that he and I will talk to travelers who come through. We'll hear stories, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll sort of gather them together and we'll try to figure out where another place may be where this is happening to see.
Are
And-
you trying to locate your lost mentor? Is that the lost mage?
Yes,
Is that your end goal there?
that, or something else that needs to be looked into, but I'm afraid for them.
Yeah.
So
I think that one of the things that will be mentioned by several people is that the temple, the shrine, the place of honor that is called Midnight, that lies there beside the scar, just above the cut, that over the last several months, travelers have more and more turned away from that path, that there is something that seems to haunt it, and people are avoiding it. Does that seem like a fair answer?
certainly.
And I think the thing that you know is that those three statues, Dusk, Midnight, and Dawn, were on the pilgrimage path of this shugenja who you are seeking after.
All right. I think Kenta can say, I will be heading east again if you wish to travel back to the scholars or to the memorial.
Doesn't say why, but he clearly does not wish to go anywhere near his home.
I assure
Issei,
him. Okay,
Oh,
I do
I'll
assure
let-
him that he's welcome to remain in Crozet.
Issei, what are you up to? What is the Dawn Chrysanthemum? Do we want to zoom into some character things? Do we want to deal with the Dawn Chrysanthemum itself? What would you like?
We do have this lingering problem of the corruption within the clan. I think I'm happy to sort of keep digging at that with a clan level move.
Sure.
I think we established that there have been ships going out to this isolated island. There's some kind
Dead
of
Island.
yes, dead island. There's some kind of trade route happening, something shadowy going on. I think this would be a claim by force roll to sort of send ships out there to disrupt the deliveries or smuggling or like whatever it is.
All right, so
and
you want to
yeah.
send a naval force out to break up the trade and shipping. It won't destroy the island, but you can cause serious harm to them.
I think it's less about destroying the island and more about seizing some of the goods that are being moved there to like kind of learn more about what's going on.
Absolutely. So let's have you roll with grasp.
Well,
I would be happy to lend aid, which I
Yeah, I was
suspect
gonna
is what
say
Val was
aid.
just about to offer as well.
Well,
so-
I was going to prompt for to learn from my mistake and ask for aid before you roll instead of after.
Mhm.
So who would you seek aid from, Issei?
Interesting. I think so. If they lend aid to me, I get advantage on the roll. Is that the?
That's correct.
And they get influence over you,
Yeah.
I believe.
Uh-huh. I think I already have advantage because I did a move before that gave me advantage on my next move that like followed up on the answer I got.
So you are in a secure place.
But I will probably need your aid later once this gets me in trouble, which it probably will. Okay, so 3d6. Oh, that's an 11.
That is an 11. So on a 10 or 11, you get to choose one. Not completely yours yet. There's a cost. There's exhaustion to your clan, or you give 2 influence to a clan who steps in to assist you, or you cause some chaos and suffering.
Hmm. Yeah, you know what? I will take assistance from someone.
Okay. Who do you
Um,
give that influence to?
I think it makes most sense to me for it to be Ghost Iris, our defenders.
Okay. So you may mark 2 influence over Dawn Chrysanthemum, Ghost Iris. So what is it that your ships go to kind of intercept these fleets? Do you think it's that they're more skillful? Do you think that they're hard to run down? Do you think they have some kind of secret weapon? What do you think it is that makes this fight to disrupt this trade route difficult?
Mm, I think one of the foes' weapons or tools or whatever is the undead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if this were a little spooky.
I think the first time that some of your vessels encounter not the actual sort of ships that are doing the running, but the kind of escort ships that are protecting them, it is that there is that turning of the vessels and the flash of lightning in the storm, and you will realize that it is a ship manned by dead sailors that turns and moves to ram. And I think that changes the tenor of the battle. How do you and then Ghost Iris deal with this undead naval force?
Um, Honestly, I think because shows of force by my clan, like shows of force like this one that are so direct, are very rare on the part of Don Chrysanthemum. I honestly think that Ghost Iris really like saves the day here. Like Don Chrysanthemum would have been um completely overrun, or it would have been a disaster if Ghost Iris had not stepped in.
Tell me what that looks like, Ghost Iris.
I think we had sent uh, like a special forces unit effectively. Like we didn't send a lot of troops, but the troops that we sent were well prepared to deal with this type of situation. And given that we'd recently received a surplus of obsidian, I think they were outfit with obsidian weapons and masks and were prepared to fight this foe. They just happened to be on the ship that was attacked and was able to push back the foe.
And I think you will break that up. You will send the ship scattering, and I think when you kind of land on Dead Island to see what's going on, it is very clear that whoever was here has taken off in a hurry, but there are definitely marks and signs here, things that suggest items and goods that come from your clan, Dawn Chrysanthemum, but also the signs and marks of that conspiracy, of that group that many thought destroyed, that those in the know understand that they were behind the calling of the foe, of causing this lord to break and summon this kami into them. Does that seem like a reasonable answer?
That sounds great to me. Yeah.
Okay. That then brings us back to Takashi and to Glass Iris.
So I think Takashi sends a letter to Issei thanking him for his gift and informing him that his suspicions about its capabilities were correct, that its effects are as planned. And he's looking for more artifacts. He will tell Issei that the Emperor has requested that Ghost Iris continues looking for such things. And so I would like to ask for assistance on a Read the Wind move
Yes,
to try and
happily.
find another one of these.
Okay. So are you spending your influence on them to get them to give you advantage, or you're just kind of asking them for this aid?
I'm just asking at the moment.
Okay. All right. So when you lend aid, are you helping them, Issei?
Yes, absolutely.
So you may go ahead and roll with advantage, Glass Iris.
Ooh, that is a total of 6.
That is a total of 6. So if they fail, Issei, do you have any influence over Glass Iris?
I
Yes.
do.
So
Yes.
So I think that your researches will stir some things up. And I think that your efforts will to look for some of these things poke a hornet's nest. And one night in one of your cities or towns, not the capital of Ghost Iris, but somewhere between Ghost Iris and Shadow Valley, one of those towns that is important, the clouds roll over that night and darken the skies, and that town is surrounded by these purple lanterns. And that night there is the howling and the crying and the baying of blood as these cultists move through the night. Purple fog, ghostly sleepwalking, running through the town, and cut down a third of the population, leaving behind occult marks and essentially a set of signs that suggest that Ghost Iris should keep its nose out of things that it has no place looking into. And I think that Issei, who is it amongst your clan who is shockingly killed by a cultist in this time as a falling out, a reaction to your assisting Glass Iris in this?
I think it's my dear twin brother, Haruki, the famed duelist, celebrated warrior.
I think the thing that is most troubling to you is he's clearly ambushed, drugged even perhaps, cut down without honor, murdered, and left dead in the mud outside the city. And there are marks carved in him that echo the signs of this cult. So, Ghost Iris, could I please have you roll hold together?
Yes. Hang on. I think I have a thing for this.
Oh, do you?
No, I don't. Not under these circumstances, anyway.
Okay.
So that is plus mood, right?
Yes.
I mean, my mood's been pretty good.
Yeah, you're
That's
plus
an
2.
11.
You absolutely hold together in the face of this. Your people, rather than being terrified or threatened or anything like that, will be brought closer together. You will gain surplus morale.
I already have.
Then you may choose another intangible surplus. The same thing holds for you, Dawn Chrysanthemum. You will also gain surplus morale from the example of Glass Iris.
Excellent.
Terrible, but excellent.
Yeah, no, this is awful.
Yes.
At least we get something out of it.
Brass Wisteria. Darkness quite a bit across the land here. What do we see of you there? You are muted.
You've been missing a lot of hemming and hawing. So
I was wondering. I recognize that expression. So
yeah, I think so. I think the thing that Brass Wisteria would like to do is to kind of capitalize on this need that they've identified for sort of additional trade by either the Eternal Sakura or the Onyx Plum. The thing I'm not sure about is how mechanically that takes place, because I don't know that claim by force or subterfuge, either of those really make sense.
subterfuge is also diplomatic maneuvering.
Okay. All right.
So
Great.
keep in mind it is that way. It is, pulling on those things, either to gain a resource, gain influence, those kinds of things.
Okay. Well, in that case, subterfuge sounds like the way to go.
Okay.
However, Brass Wisteria is as subtle as a mallet, so they're going to be looking for some help. Specifically, I think Mike, I don't know if you're still here, but I think Duo might be calling on his dear friend his dear friend Takashi to sort of enlist his aid in attempting to set up some of these trade routes, since Takashi is much more of a merchant than Dua is. So I think that looks like well, so I have influence over Ghost Iris.
Okay. So you can either spend that to demand it, or you can simply ask Ghost Iris for help.
Yes, I think so. I think we'll be asking Ghost Iris for help here.
Are
Yeah,
you
we'll
willing
gladly
to
help.
risk and commit to this?
We will, but we don't have influence on Rossisteria at the moment, so
No,
Which I
let's look.
think is okay. It's the
it is okay.
yeah.
So you lend aid to a clan you don't have influence over. You ask if they'll help accept your help. They roll with advantage.
Right. So that's a 3d6 plus -2. I think, yeah, -1.
Next one.
Not quite as bad as slight as I was thinking. All right, so that's an 8.
That is an 8. So that's on Read the Wind.
Subterfuge.
Oh, subterfuge. So on subterfuge, what is it you want to you can generate 1 hold or 2 if you pick a cost from below. I'll bold out those costs.
Hmm. So I'm not, again, I'm sort of not sure, like looking at these pick list items where, you know, the sort of if the thing mechanically that I'm trying to do is generate surplus trade, like neither of those clans have that as a surplus for me to sort of take it diplomatically. I guess I'm
Yeah, let's look at what we can do here.
I could
So,
you know, there's the fleeting control.
Yeah.
Maybe.
A fleeting control of a place or resource, and I think a resource we can also read that as influence there.
Okay.
If you wanted to take influence over one of them that you'd
Mhm.
need to use before the end of the year.
Okay.
But to do that, you would need to generate 2 hold,
Right.
which might be about raising the turmoil.
Yep. Okay, so
And which family is it that you are interacting with here?
yes, I think we're going with, I think we're talking to, I think we're talking to Eternal Sakura, and sort of trying to set up sort of trade relations with them to.
Let me modify that role. Kind of make a session that plays into the mechanics that we've got set there. But I think that we have Sanakata Minato, who is the daimyo of Eternal Sakura. She will say, perhaps, why don't we set up a trade route, an exchange in this way? We will give you influence over us, but we consider it reciprocal, and you will give us influence over you. It makes sense. If you need to call on us for favors, that's one thing, and then we could call on you for favors.
It sounds like a mutually beneficial relationship.
And if there is something you need, you'd have merely to tell us, and we will aid you in this. You have too long been kept at the margins of the empire. Those days should be over.
We welcome the opportunity to work with the other the rest of the clans.
Absolutely. Perhaps we might even contemplate a marriage alliance at some point in the future.
That could be in the cards.
Excellent. Does that seem like a fair result from that roll?
Sure.
Okay. So there's general news will come out about us that the Brass Wisteria and the Eternal Sakura clan have come to an understanding thanks to the mediation of Ghost Iris stepping in to help make those contacts. Asuka.
Yes.
Would you like to frame up your zoom in now?
Yeah. I think it only makes sense to go to midnight. The cult, the
Mhm.
cultists, they're swirling around, and the more we understand about the different spots and places and ways that things are touched, the more we can do something.
So how are you arranging this expedition? Are you reaching out to your friends?
I will reach out to them if they can make it. It would be lovely. And if they choose not to, well, I will bring someone from my house, perhaps.
So each of you are welcome to send your character on this expedition on the zoom in. Alternately, you may either make up a quick character from the Crow Azalea clan, or one of you could also play the Imperial Herald, joining in on this. So, Elle, what would you like to do? Is Issei going, or do you want to do a quick character or the Imperial Herald?
Yeah, I feel like Issei's got a lot going on right now. I'll make a quick character, I think.
Okay. So for a quick character, I always have to look this up. The notes are under, if you go to the character playbooks, the far end, it tells you how to build a quick character. You set some stats, choose a relationship, and you choose a role, which will give you a move. And what is the inheritance bonus for your clan, Crow Azalea?
It's awesome.
Okay.
Let me to tell you. So the inheritance is, it's 3 down. Your character will either add 1 to lore or to cunning. They always know how to read or write. In addition, if you choose to be a non-shugenja, you can sense when spirits or magical creatures are nearby, and you may take a flesh wound to communicate with them. Like I said, it's a wonder to be a member of.
What
my
about
house.
for Glass Iris Takashi? Would you go on this expedition, or do you want to make a quick character, or do you want to be the Herald?
I think Takeshi's skills are not what are required here. I would love to play the Imperial Herald.
Okay. So how do you think it is that the Imperial Herald, like, what is it about, like, that? What is it that they are doing? Like, why are they called in, do you think? Or why do they poke their nose in, I guess I mean.
I think it is to do with the brazen actions of these cultists, that there is a clear threat to the Empire. And so if there is a party going to investigate that, then the Emperor's interest must be represented.
That makes sense. So this is something that is valuable to the Emperor, and this certainly threatens trade and transport, and makes sense that you would do that. So you will get that starting gear. You'll get those starting stats for the Imperial Herald. And when you zoom in, you get to choose one of the following things. You can either take a move from any character playbook. You can add a couple of assets. You can add a couple of bodyguards, or you can add +1 to bravery, might, or cunning.
I will add +1 to might.
Okay. And what about for our brass wisteria?
So I think, well, I think Do It is not going to be there initially, mostly because I want the opportunity to use range far and wide at least once.
Okay.
Which is if I'm not at a scene, I can show up, possibly bringing trouble in my wake because it's fun. So I don't know if that means I should
Yeah, you
also
should make
do something else.
make
or
a quick
do
make a quick character, and then
Perfect.
you can swap when circumstances suggest that.
All right. Okay.
And yep, figure out a name and those kinds of things, and then we'll have you introduce.
And the quick characters are typically from.
They will be from, in this case, from Crow Azalea.
Got it.
In a second, I'll ask some introductory things.
I do love that the Herald has like -1 lore. That seems highly hilarious to me. You forget it all the other days.
So here is a question. Takashi, Mike, you're the first person to play our Imperial Herald. This is like one of the most important Imperial agents. But again, they are amongst the Ronin that ran with the Emperor before the Emperor became the Emperor. So tell us what you're picturing for this character. Let's set our template for who they are.
I think they're a very pragmatic kind of person. Like sometimes things need to be done, and she will just get them done. It's kind of unflappable in the face of danger, as it were.
You think we know, did they come out from a clan that has been destroyed? Did they come from a minor clan? Did they come from one of the existing clans before they became a Ronin?
Yeah, good question. I think they came from one of the existing clans, but part of becoming the Imperial Herald was forsaking their prior clan and kind of being informally adopted by the Imperial line, or formally adopted, in that she's in no way in line to become Empress, but it's or maybe like, you know, she is 73rd in line or something.
There's a thought that maybe some of these Imperial, like Agent Ronin, might eventually start their own minor families that might become part of the Imperial sort of group of vassal families at some point.
Yeah, I think so. Although she's shown no interest in that.
How old is she?
What is everyone else?
A lot of
she's-
30s, young people.
Yeah, I think she's probably in her mid-40s.
Okay, so older, that kind of timeless old. Okay. And classic katana user, or a naginata, or primarily an archer. What are you imagining there for weapons?
I like Naginata.
Okay. Elle, who is your quick character?
Yeah, her name is Asuka. Her pronouns are she, her. She is young, like somewhere in her 20s, but because of an encounter she had with a malevolent spirit when she was young, she's like had silver hair since she was like 5 years old. She's also blind. Although sometimes it kind of seems like she can see. It's a weird situation. But yeah, she's got this sort of willowy frame. And I think she's an artist by trade. I think maybe she married into Rosalia, perhaps from the Elegant clan. And yeah, now she's dedicated to making sort of religious artifacts for Crozalia's ceremonies and rituals.
You kind of been brought along as an expert in sculpture and art and those kinds of things?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And then Kaylin, who are you mentioning for the quick character that you're going to bring along?
So Odo is a cousin, perhaps once or twice removed, and he is very excited to be on this this expedition. It's his first sort of real foray out of the sort of main Crow Azalea stronghold. His family has been sort of overly protective, and so he's looking forward to getting out and stretch his wings, but he is not at all experienced in the sort of the ways of the world.
Our naive character out there. Okay. Let's take our second quick break, take 5, and we'll come back and zoom in. So, what is your reaction, Asuka Kimura? We brought Odo and Aika with you, and Kenta has agreed to come when the Imperial Herald shows up to join you on this expedition.
She's delighted because she's never had a chance to speak to her, and so she always likes to talk to new people. So she's very vaguely respectful in that way that she is to everyone. But yes, she's like, oh, this is very exciting. Do you need to know what the back details are? and I will spend our first few hours as we're walking along, traveling or whatever, however we do, telling her all of the stories about this mage, his pilgrimage that we know, when he went missing, and the signs and the things that we have found. It is a briefing, but it's told in a very, how should we say? It's like a beautiful fairy tale when Asuka tells it.
I like that. Tell me, Issei, tell me something about one of the places that is kind of on the way to the area you're going to, either this last moment temple or the Scar or Shadow Valley. Tell me kind of the direction you're coming from and a place that we're going to see, because we've kind of put these on the map, but maybe we haven't detailed them as much.
Yeah. I think that as we pass the last moment, Saigo no Shinkan, and that like wood that surrounded it, even though we know it's desolated, there's no one there, you can hear snatches of conversation kind of whispered on the wind from the woods. Perhaps those are the spirits of the dead reliving their last moments of life over and over again.
What? And Daigo, as we see you travel along, we first finally see dawn, the first of these three sort of statuaries or shrines. What does it look like? I don't know if we've established what these look like. So what does dawn look like?
I think it looks like a warrior, but they look to be in a moment of like contemplation before a battle. Like they perhaps are in a kneeling position with the sword laid out in front of them, and with a sunburst motif, like the sun is coming up behind them.
And Odo, what's the toughest thing about this journey for you as a kind of a young, headstrong person over this longer overland journey past these weird, mysterious places?
I think the thing Odo has the hardest time with is the travel. Like, he knows they're going to something interesting, but there's so many other things that he just like has not had the opportunity to see, and they have to just pass it all by, right? Like, you see it in passing, we're going through, by the last moment, and we hear these voices, but there's no, we can't stop. We are on a sort of on a mission, and Odo really would like to just have more time to kind of take in the sites and see, to kind of explore the places we're going through.
I like that. And Asuka Kimura, you are leading the expedition. And so you are making the cross great distances roll here.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Sounds fabulous.
Yes. When you undertake a journey of some peril, choose an appropriate stat and roll.
Let's see here. Well, this is a bunch of mages taking a lecture, isn't it? I mean, it's a mage and a sculptor and a scion of the shugenja family. So I'm going to say lore is probably pretty big. Would you say?
Yeah.
That seems reasonable. Okay, so I have to find this move though. Is it a clan move or a character move?
It is, in fact, a character move.
All right.
It's in the middle column at the very bottom.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Because I was like, we don't have enough moves. Let's make some more moves and put those
Thank
moves
you
over
for
there.
doing that. Okay, well, let's do it. All right, I'm gonna roll and add 2. Oh my God. How do I even do this? It's like, okay, so I get a 5. Lol.
Okay. So what is it that causes the problems? Is it beast encounters? Is it torrential rain? Is it something else? What is the events that causes the wear and tear on your group here?
Oh, I think it's literally like the weather, the kami themselves are trying to keep us from going there.
Absolutely. So the journey wears on the party. That means collectively you're going to kind of arrive in a desperate spot, and you must collectively mark 8 wounds and or supply. Everybody
Okay.
has 3 supply to mark, and they have 2 light wound boxes and 2 heavy wound boxes.
So I have gear. One of the things about the shugenja gear is it's gear that can be used multiple times in a thing. Does that mean that the limit on that is
so you can mark it? You can mark that particular gear. You still only have 3 supply, but you can mark a particular piece of gear more than once.
Okay. So, wow, it's pretty nasty though.
That's why we have death moves.
Okay, well, it's good. Maybe I can make something nice happen. Okay. I sure won't let me otherwise. Oh, okay. I will do, how about weird. I'm sorry, the thing keeps moving on me. So I'm gonna use probably enchantments of protection.
Okay.
So I will use one of those. I can use it again if I need to.
Okay.
And probably a sorceress symbol.
Okay.
Again.
So that's 2 out of the 6. Ika, what do you want to mark?
I get my gear from the clan, right?
Yep.
So, okay, cool. I think I have a guide to magics and a weapon with an elemental enchantment. I'll say it's like a carving knife, actually.
Okay.
And I think I'm able to do something with those 2 things to help stave off the worst of it.
Okay. Absolutely. Oda, what about you? Muted.
So I think I'm going to mark 2 wounds, 2 light wounds. One of those is because as the kami were sort of providing kind of making the way difficult, Odo was attempting to communicate with them using the inheritance ability, but was not successful in actually doing anything. This was not with Asuka's help or guidance. This was, he was attempting to do this on his own, to sort of prove himself. And I think he's just sort of exhausted and
Yeah.
Get worn down.
Absolutely. And Daigo, what about you?
So I guess first a question. I don't have wound boxes.
Oh
I
yeah,
presume
you should
that's
have
just
you should
missing
have
from the sheet.
four moon boxes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to use them though. I have a resilient weatherproof outfit, so I will
Okay.
mark that off to say that I've used it. And checking the lines and veils. And to say something about the character, I think Dago has a horse
Okay.
with her that slips in the mud and breaks its leg, and
Oof.
she puts it down
Think
without a
that's
second thought.
out of second thought and moves on. I think the shugenja. I think we saw Asuka's reaction to that. But the group of you, maybe with followers, we haven't found this kind of Schrodinger's followers there, will arrive at this giant statue. And I think the thing that will strike you is here, again, cloud cover, thunderstorm, that, but you will see that there is a large group of people that are standing in the rain in a circle around the base of this great statue. And you will see that they are soaked to the skin and not dressed for the weather, but they are beautiful. Their hair glistens, their skin is porcelain. They look happy. Their skin is flushed despite the weather, and there are several dozen of them in this circle around there. And you can tell, I think all of you have a sense of the magics in some way. They are standing vigil and keeping something in.
I will cast a ritual, ward of purity, to push them away, to protect us and to push us away, push them
Okay.
away.
Let's look at that ritual, that ward of purity. Okay. So it will require your full attention while that is going on.
Okay.
Let's have you make that roll to cast that. So
I always roll with advantage,
yes, you do.
and that means nothing with my dice. But let's.
That's true.
Oh, for God's sake!
So,
Six.
Sherry, here is one of the things. We come to character moves.
Yes.
After failing to roll as low as you'd like, you may say what a character nearby can do to boost your efforts. If the group agrees, the helper may say how they do it, and they roll an appropriate stat, and they can raise your result level up by 1.
Okay.
So, which of the characters who are there can help you? Is it your sculptor, or is it Odo, the excitable Shugenja nephew? Going to call on him to sacrifice himself in this ritual?
Oh,
I mean, help out in this ritual?
Why are you so
Why would I say it that way?
Because you're the worst.
I am.
I think that I would call upon the sculptor because it is about the statue at this point, and essentially, how do you say, enrobing it in the magic, so as well.
So, Aika, would you assist?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Then this feels like lore. Does that seem right?
That seems right to me.
Okay, let's have you roll.
Okay. It's an 8.
So that is an 8. So that will get it to a 7 to 9 result on the rituals as you do this. So on a 7 to 9, you pick one blessing, and then I choose a bane.
Great. Let's see here. There we go. So this is a cast ritual.
Yes, blessing.
Sorry, just trying to find it. Where is it? I'm sorry. Is it on
Oh,
Wait,
inactive
click
rituals
on
are the ritual tabs.
rituals? Take it. Okay, here we go. I'm so sorry, everyone.
That's okay.
Let's see, on 7 to 9. Oh, okay. So I always have to choose this one. The magic does exactly what I desired, no more nor less.
Okay. So you will create that barrier, but there is a force fighting back against you and Aika. And you will feel it strike through the energies, and both of you will mark a wound. And Asuka, you're concentrating, and that sort of barrier comes out and pushes aside these figures, and kind of clears a pathway towards the base of this statue. Odo, what do you do?
I think seeing the statue, the path to the statue cleared, Odo is going to run forward and try and see what it was that because it looked like they were surrounding something or someone at the statue, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Odo is going to be running in there to try and
let's have you
rescue
make a
whoever.
study roll.
All right. So my lore
Wet
is 0.
ground, slippery, slick, muddy, mud covered. You kind of running through the rain up to the statue to see what's going on. These figures surrounding, ghostly, ethereal, water rolling off of them, beautiful faces, unnaturally, supernaturally beautiful. All right.
I rolled a 7.
You rolled a 7, so you have 1 hold.
Okay. So I think the question I'm asking here is, what were these I don't know what to call them exactly, but these minions of the
these
foe,
tainted cultists?
yes, these cults, what were they trying to, what were they surrounding, what were they
You
encroaching
hit the
upon?
base of the statue and you almost slide in, because the ground underneath where the base of the statue is, and it's pretty wide base, has collapsed, and you will see there's kind of a river of mud rolling down, but below ground you can smell it and you can feel it. You can feel something dying down there, but you'll also see the crackle of lightning, like it flashes up from this tunnel going down. What do you do, Daigo?
So are the cultists leaving, or are they just?
Oh no, they are
backing off
they
in
are
response
merely
to the
being
magic?
pushed back. There are dozens and dozens of them, and they have merely been pushed back by this barrier. They will continue to push on it and try to find another way around.
In that case, I will hold the Naginata of office in front of me and demand that they all leave in the name of the Emperor. Their presence is not welcome here, nor is it permitted.
I think you will realize that your choice now is to stand in defense or strike at these things. They look at you. You can tell that they are half asleep, half awake, but truly tainted.
If they will not attack me, then I will attack them.
Okay. Let's have you roll with might as you sortie into this large force of enemies.
Okay. I will check off my final supply to use my weapon of office on
Okay.
this.
Roll that with advantage.
Oh,
One
I'm
more
missing a
die.
Hang on.
So that is an 11. So you will start cutting through them. The numbers are huge. It is a question of scale, but you are cutting into them even as they are grabbing at you. Choose 2, and then I will choose 1.
I will learn something useful.
Okay.
My question is, have all of these people come from a single clan, or do they appear to have come from multiple clans?
They look that they have been drawn from villages around the area, like a collection of those who have been tainted from different places. Like someone has come, some somnambulist, and whispered these corrupted dreams in their ears and drawn them out. And your second choice?
I will inflict savage, terrifying harm and frighten my foes.
You are tearing through them. But I think there is that moment as you are cutting through. There are just so many of them, and it is so wet out, and now their blood is mixing with the rain, and I think that you are raising the naginata up again when your feet sink in the mud up to your knees, and you are affixed there in the midst of them as because they can get at you, they can't get past the barrier, they begin to come for you. Aika, you have assisted Asuka, who is standing there keeping this barrier up. What do you do?
I think that Aika is looking up at this statue, almost as though she's like looking into its eyes, although neither she nor the statue can see anything. But I think she is whispering to the kami under her breath, as even statues have spirits. Statues can see things in their way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she is asking it what it has seen and how she and Asuka can help purify this place.
Okay. So this is unearthed forgotten lore kind of thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So let's have you roll with lore. And I think that this qualifies for being your specialty. So you're going to get fleeting advantage on this.
Oh, is there any... I already rolled an 11, so I think
Okay.
it's fine.
Oh yeah, you're fine. You have 3 hold.
Fantastic. I guess what dangers does it hide to start with?
It is containing a dying creature of great power below ground that these cultists are waiting to swoop in and drink the very essence from.
Interesting.
Two more hold.
How can we draw on this for power instead? I guess, like, how can we best extract the power from this creature?
You would have to connect yourself to it and try to channel its energy through yourselves. A dangerous and risky proposition, especially since you don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Right now.
Did you ask?
One more hold.
Can I ask what it is? That's
Yes.
not one of the questions, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It is the Dragon of Thunder. It is the embodiment of the spirit of thunder and lightning itself, wounded by the foe and other things and dying. It is in its last legs, this dragon that has curled its way below ground, attempting to hide itself. It has been concealed and protected by a shugenja, but his power is weakening. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Let's come back then to Asuka.
I assume, I guess, tells us this.
Yeah, I think Ika is like having this conversation with the statue aloud. And like she is voicing both her side and the statue's side in this sort of unearthly, gravelly voice. So you hear everything.
Okay. And I see Daigo out there sunk to their knees and
They are desperate, and your Odo is out there far away and exposed there at the base of the statue.
can I channel these powers to, is that within my skill set? I imagine.
Absolutely. You could absolutely do that. You would need to drop the barrier.
I know this.
And right now, there are so many of them. If only someone could come to help you.
If only.
Kale, do you want to try and enact that move, since this is like
Sure.
the perfect time for that?
Love it.
Let's
all
have
right,
you roll
so
bravery.
bravery, which is +1. That is an 8.
That is an 8. So what does it look like? I think you have some cultists like traveling in your wake, but not nearly the numbers that are here. But what do we see on screen? We've got the herald there in danger. We've got Asuka desperately trying to figure out how to change things. Aika is channeling the voice of this. What do we see?
Yeah, so I think we hear it first before, it's almost you almost might mistake it for more thunder, but you can hear the it eventually resolves into galloping hoofbeats as Dua arrives on horseback. And I think sort of the seeing Daigo, beset by all of these cultists, that's where Dua kind of enters the fight first, kind of sweeping in and trying to clear some space, and wielding his long spear from horseback.
Absolutely. So this will be fiercely assault. You roll that with might. Do you want to mark a gear to give yourself advantage?
Yes. Actually, I think maybe I'll use the bow for the elongated bow first. So
Okay.
it's going to be under a rain of arrows to start, and then the spear is going to come into play later.
Okay.
So that is might, which I think is +1 because I'm pretty much +1 across the board.
Mm-hmm. So that's a
So
7.
that's a 7. Okay.
So we look at that with a 7 on character moves. You choose 1 and the GM chooses 2.
Okay. So I think, as I mentioned, so that the Dua's sort of first priority was helping the Herald escape.
Okay.
So I think that's where his focus is, and I'm going to try and give her a clear avenue of escape from that.
Okay, so that will be the purpose. So that's the thing you've done that you've achieved. And what do you want to pick from the character list?
Okay.
Rather than doing a lot of damage to them, you're more clearing them away from around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think then I'm the thing I want to know is there a sort of key blow that we could strike that would scatter these cultists?
So you're going to ask ask something useful? Learn
Yes.
something useful? I think that as you are mounted up, you're at a higher elevation than the others. You're on this horseback. As you ride in and kind of clear them away from Daigo, you will see down a ways away that there is a trio of figures wearing masks at a distance who seem to be controlling, puppet mastering all of this. But then there are so many of these cultists around you, pulling at you and blocking your horse from going anywhere. And you have no avenue of escape right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to take 2 harm, and you are surrounded.
Okay. Let's see. And marking gear is marking off supply, just like marking armor rather would be. Okay.
You mark that, and you can ignore one of those wounds.
Yep. Okay, so I'll do that.
Okay. Means you have 1 supply left.
Yep.
Asuka, you see this. You see from out of nowhere, Dua arrives to help provide an escape avenue for Daigo so that she will not be crushed, and to give a distraction away. What do you want to do?
I think I will enact a ritual.
And you're going to kind of do what do you want the ritual to do? This is more of a on the fly thing?
Yes, I will make a promise to the dying thunder dragon to use his energy to strike down his foes in return for him essentially like passing that to me.
Okay. So this is not done with advantage because it's not a legacy ritual. But you don't get any penalty for doing it on the fly. We've defined what you want it to do. Let's have you roll. I have a question. Do you have any supply left?
Yes, I should probably spend that, shouldn't I?
You can do that if you wished.
I will do that. Let's see here. Think When she asks the dragon, she makes an invocation of striking to demonstrate that she can use his power.
Have you roll?
Does that give me advantage or does it give me advantage?
Yes, you get advantage.
So that gives me an 8.
That gives you an 8. So, what do you want this blessing to do?
First, it does take that power that they wanted to feed off of
Okay.
and bring it, and I take it and I bring it down on these cultists around us. It is literally to save us from these right
Okay.
now. I don't think I know about the breath.
Sure. Absolutely.
Obsidian
What
masks,
what is
so-
the blessing there? Exactly what you desire, or do you want it more powerful to like clear these things away?
Is that what I need to choose? Is
There'll be some left unless you pick the far more powerful.
all right, I will choose far more powerful.
And I think you will connect your soul to that of the Thunder Dragon. And Odo, Daigo, Aika, Dua, you will see lightning leap forth from that tunnel. And you will feel, Asuka, some of the Thunder Dragon's wounds on your body.
That's only fair.
And you can feel this power warp you. You don't think some of these wounds will ever heal exactly right. And Odo, mark 3 wounds. As you see, Odo is struck by the lightning as it explodes up from that tunnel, Asuka, and is sent flying.
Oh no! What was he doing?
But the lightning explodes out. It strikes out. It screams out. We see the spectral form of the Thunder Dragon out, and it washes through these cultists, chain lightning from figure to figure as they're thrown back and away. Daigo, you've this from nowhere. This Borderlander has come and given you path, and then suddenly lightning is flying everywhere and they're being pulled away. What do we see you doing?
So if I can extricate myself from the mud, I will signal to Dua to give me a lift.
Okay.
So I'll jump on the back of his horse.
Okay. And I think you mean he getting you out of there was his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dua, we'll come back to you two in just 1 second. Aika, what are you doing? As you see Asuka, like the lightning wreathing around her, and she is bleeding, but you also see Odo kind of lying there in the mud. What do you do?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think Odo needs me more than Asuka.
Okay.
So I run over to him slipping in the mud, and I like kneel down next to him, kind of checking the severity of his wounds, and if it's possible, is there some way I can ask the nearby spirits to take some of his wounds away or help them transfer to myself?
Sure. You would have to mark a wound, and then we would have you roll disarm to try and uh, uh, pull Odo back from his grievously wounded state.
Okay, I'm fully willing to do that.
Okay. Roll plus bravery.
Okay. It's an 8.
On 8, you've bought some time, but you get to choose one.
Success demands sacrifice. That's interesting.
Then I think that to your horror, as the spirits come down from the thing that you are most attached to, they come down and they lend their strength of stone to you and to Odo to keep Odo from this. You will hear this massive crack as that statue begins to split and crumble, and you will look up as this artisan's work begins to fall apart.
Yeah, I think we see Aga pressing her hands against Odo's wounds and hearing this like horrible thunderous crack. And she looks up and somehow she can see it. It's the only thing she can see. This statue of this great warrior against like this like dark black void. But she watches it crumble. It feels like someone close to her is dying.
Daigo, there is just this last 3. You have the lightning continues to send these figures away. I think this is just the two of you describing to me how you work together to cut down these 3 mages. I don't think there's a role here.
Your timing is
think-
impeccable, Borderlander. We require 1 for questioning, but only 1.
You take the one on the left, I'll take the one on the right. We'll knock over the one in the middle.
Yeah.
And I think the Dua spurs his horse and wields his spear. And Daigo, you've got your Naginata. We are well positioned for horseback combat. And
they
Tripod
try,
attack.
yeah, they try to move apart, but your Naginata is quicker, Daigo, and will slash and cut one down. And Odo, your arrow pierces the second one, and then you strike, knock over the third there. And Asuka, the crackling of the lightning begins to die down as the rain begins to stop, and I think you'll see that last flicker of the dragon's life as your shugenja that you came here to seek climbs his way out, marked, burnt, injured, but still alive, as the rain just begins to stop and the last crackles of lightning echo across the skies, and it gets quiet. There's just a pitter patter of light rain there. And I think that's where we're going to stop with that scene. So you have completed your mission. No one died, but people were quite injured. We will give a chance at the start of next time for a little bit of conversation, Odo, Daigo, Aika, and so on. We'll definitely give to that. But that's where we're going to stop. Next time we'll talk about maybe holding court to do that roll with the Emperor, move on to the next year that will allow that supply, that resource to arrive and move the project along, and we'll see where we get to. So I would like to do a quick Stars and Wishes. Again, we're not playing next week because of Halloween, but we are playing in 2 weeks. Kale, can I start with you on Stars and Wishes?
Sure. took notes this time. Mike, I loved just like early on in the session your setup and then use of your interacting clan moves. That was just a great like mechanical thing tied in with fiction. Very clever. Sherry, at the start of this sort of last zoom in, your description of Asuka giving a briefing that was like a fairy tale was like that was just, I felt like it was a great just like brought out Asuka's character and sort of how she'd handle this in general. And Elle, the description you gave of the like the last moment monument and the sort of the hearing the voices was just like I love that bit of world building. And Lowell, of course, just keeping all of this running, you know, yet again, it's always great to play.
Awesome. Anything wishes wise?
I don't think so. I guess I'm
Okay.
curious to see. I don't know. At the clan level, I'm not sure. You know, I know we're doing another court. I don't know when the ages turn and sort of what the like larger clan
Yeah.
progression is. So, I'm not...
So when a project is completed,
Mhm.
when it hits that progress, then that's when the age turns, and we go forward a few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so then we'll
And there's
probably see that
a
soon.
strong possibility that we might get to that next time.
Yep.
Sherry.
Wow, there was so much good play. Like Mike's play was on target, just fabulous, smart, so good. But Elle was right there too. Oh, both of you just have the clan moves in that sort of back and forth. Great. I just love watching it. It's exactly what this game is supposed to do. I wish that I could just figure out where everything is on the spreadsheet, and then I think I can, you know, play with the big kids. But yeah, and I am loving how these characters are all like just really, I don't know, their space in their clans is so good and strong that I'm looking forward to, like, as we move on, them being recognized for that, because you know, I mean, everyone already knows that Issei is really amazing, but do they know how amazing? I don't know. And yeah, gosh, you guys are all so good. I'm like really inarticulate right now.
Okay.
I loved all of the moments that we slowed down to do detail. I loved all of the moments of conversation. But the structure of the game is really holding that up well. So super enjoying that. I'm looking forward to figuring out what it means for Asuka having the heart of a thunder dragon bound to her, with her. I mean, she always dreamed of flying, but she thought it was bird flying, not dragon flying. So there you go.
Awesome. Elle.
Yeah, I second and third everything that's been said. And to add to that, the scene with Dua coming to the rescue was like awesome. It was so cinematic. I just loved seeing him ride in. I really enjoyed seeing our herald, our Imperial Herald, for the first time. And Mike, I think you did them justice. I especially loved the sort of character defining moment of them putting down the horse without a second thought. I thought that was great. And Asuka's rituals are always so awesome. But like the scene of her like drawing the dragon's power into herself is like so epic. Really cool. And I'm also really curious like what that means moving forward, because that's a lot of power to wield, a lot of responsibility too, I have to imagine. So yeah, I would love to see that. That's one of my wishes. And I also have a scene I would like to do with Issei and Asuka before the next court, if possible.
Okay. Okay. And last but not least, Mike.
So I just loved the family level play, the clan level play. I thought it felt grand and epic, and it every move moved the story forward in an interesting and exciting way. But I really love the zoom ins as well, and I really love the balance that the kind of legacy framework provides for that, to kind of tell this epic story, but to really zoom in on those very important character beats. I loved playing the Herald. I thought that was I always knew that switching up a character and doing that kind of like jumping into like a quick character would be fun. But to pick up a character that kind of already existed and flesh them out, that was a lot of fun too. For Kale, I had just Odo's enthusiasm about everything. It was immediately apparent and infectious, and it felt like I'd known this character all the way along. And I'm glad they did not die. Dua's cavalry charge was absolutely epic and well described, and that was a highlight moment for me for the entire session. I also put a mark against Asuka's bubbly fairy tale explanation of the situation. I thought that was great. I would have loved to have seen a scene between Asuka and Odo, just because I think they would have bounced off each other really well. Every time Asuka does magic, I stop taking notes and just kind of sit in awe, and so I love that, and especially making the deal with the Thunder Dragon. That was a pivotal moment for that character, and it feels like of all the characters, Asuka will get to the end of the age with a collection of interesting scars. But perhaps when we move to the next stage, her story will be the one that is best known. For Ella, I had just having the courtly stuff down and being willing to be dragged into my terrible luck at an inappropriate moment was great. And working with you to take out an island full of dead people was also fun. But for me, the highlight was Aika looking into the eyes of the statue, neither truly seeing the other. I thought that was a particularly poignant and beautiful moment. And overall, I had an absolute blast, and I cannot wait to play this again. So
Awesome.
In terms of wishes,
yeah.
I had completion of the project. I think we're close, and I would love to see that happen and to see how that shakes up the game and moves things forward. It also feels like all of the clans are in a good position mood-wise, so we're probably all more well prepared for that. Takashi completed his role, so I need to figure out what to do.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt in the middle of the session to figure that out, and that was also part of my reasoning for switching characters for the back half of the session. So I need to read up on that and figure out what I'm going to do with it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
The last wish that I had was kind of we had Kintsugi as a potential theme. And given everything that happened, I kind of wonder if Odo's wounds might be healed with stone.
Ooh. Oh, I like that. What do you think, Kale?
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
great. Oh, that's dynamite. That's dynamite. I love it. Thank you all so much. I am going to stop the summary. Meeting summaries off. I'm going to stop the recording.